So here we are. Since most probably won't even watch this video, we do it anyway. It's for me. Um, I need to keep record of moments in life that are profound. It's being honest with yourself. It's the most difficult thing to do. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. Like, how did we get here? And of all places. This year has been a roller coaster, to say the least. But at the same time, I always had that notion that this journey that I've been on was necessary. It's almost part of the vision that I've had for a long time. I know it's going to be better. It's just because there's the vision after this part of my story that I constantly still get. You know, we can go back to my childhood if we do that, but that's just going to bring up way too much. I've worked through that. You know, I really have. Not to say it doesn't still bother me, right? I mean, it's happened. I can't forget it. I was present in all those moments that shaped who I am as a person today. I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm not going to lay blame on anyone. I would never. But here we are, 45, unhoused, by my own accounts, incredibly talented, and always have been. It's the fighting part I'm exhausted from. Been fighting for a very long time. I'm done. I found peace. I have the most amazing son. All right? I'm doing everything for him. I've done what I needed to do. I've lived my life. And all I want to do is live to see him live his. All right? Attempting to be the most supportive father I can ever be. Being present is everything. We try to give our children what we didn't have growing up. And I'm hoping I'm doing that. Without having him privy of the things going on in my life. That doesn't bring a smile to his face. All we do is try our best, however that may be. Try to navigate this world and to participate in it is a lot. You find yourself being a part of the game. I guess let's go back to, let's start at 2021, I think the pivotal moment. Prior to May 5th, 2021, I was a senior project manager for an interior design firm in Houston. I dedicated a lot of my talent and life there. I've collaborated with some amazing people, internally and externally, to create some beautiful spaces. I'm still proud of them, all of them, even the ones that kind of like, but I have to go back and like, wow, we did that. The insecurities and notions of malicious people tend to do disruption to the point where I found myself receiving a text message on my birthday, on a Sunday, whilst I was on vacation. And not only that, I was on vacation with 6 friends who had traveled from the East Coast to Los Angeles just to share their time with me to celebrate my birthday. It's post-COVID, so it was needed-ish, celebrating life. And I received an email that I already knew what it was about. It wasn't warranted. It was vengeful because I finally spoke up for myself. I wasn't going to allow another human to disregard who I am and dismiss what I've done just to protect themselves. Everyone knows. They know exactly who they are. But I didn't let that deter me. I walked in the office knowing what was about to happen. Started gathering my items from the office, from my personal office, and proceeded to go ahead and get it done. But I had already formulated a plan. After leaving, I went home and I created my own business. straight out the gate. Got the domain, got the email, sent everyone at the office an email from my personal business telling them thank you for the 10 years. I saw that as an opportunity to really seek who I am as an artist. Granted, at the time I really didn't even see myself as one, even though now I realize I've always been an artist. And I was already doing work on the side, right? Just to make ends meet, and to further my passion in architecture. Still is. I can't stop it. So here I am venturing off on my own, making it work as much as I knew how. Being an artist and running a business is quite tough, especially once you run into having to deal with clients. For the most part, they all have good intentions, but you end up having to deal with humans that don't acknowledge your contribution to their projects. And a lot of times I had to go chase after my payment. Excuse me. Right? And mind you, my fees that I provided was way below what they should have been because I didn't know my self-worth. And this goes back to my childhood. I was exceptional, still am, but was never believed it. I didn't believe it. It was just me being me, right? Plus, I knew I ran in circles with other exceptional people, and that was just normal. So my fees didn't match my exceptionalism or talent, which was fine because it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me to get rich. It was me investing in myself with hopes that someday someone will see my talent, my worth, and respect it mutually. So I did what I needed to do just to keep it going. But having to chase after your clients for payment after the countless of hours of parsing through the minutest of details. To break even would have been great, but it was never the case. But it made do. It afforded me a lifestyle of allowing to have that freedom. But everyone knows entrepreneurship is not for the lighthearted. There's ups and downs. And when you're up, you're up. And when you're down, baby, you are down. Then you have to come back up. But you have to catch back up, right? The bills don't stop. Your consultants that you're hiring don't stop. So you have to take care of people. You are last. So, towards the end of October of 2024, I saw the writings on the wall with regards to politics and the economy. And on top of that, I figured, if anything, I need to ensure that I obtained solid health care. Because at the moment I was in the ACA. But the health care, 45, I need to ensure that that's the thing, right? So I made a decision to cease my one-man operation and try to get back into the corporate world, just to ensure I have health care more than anything else, and to ensure that my son has health care, and if need be, my former wife, who happens to have multiple sclerosis and is on Medicare, Medicaid currently, and is completely disabled. So I decided to not pursue any more work because I've already had to finish a couple projects that was on my plate, and had some other projects I was doing where I was not compensated for. Clients ghosted, did the work, turned it in, they disappeared without a trace. What can you do? Just keep moving. In that year, in June, I was renting a house in the Heights from a friend I've known. He was concerned with what was happening as well, and decided to put the house up for sale, just in case he needed to go back to his home country. I was okay with that. It was on a month-to-month basis. He was a good friend. And at that time, I was being a nomad, working on these projects wherever I happened to be, right? That's where I was, in New York and New Jersey and Florida and everywhere else, right? It was the summer. The house was old. Air conditioning wasn't that great. It was unsufferable during the summer, so I was fine being around those who wanted to be around me as I worked. Continue. The house got sold pretty quickly, closed very quickly, to the point where I had to fly back from Florida to move out of the house within 1 week. And I did. I had no problems with that. I wasn't there anyway. End up selling as much as I could out of the house, because I had no attachment to material things, and giving away most of the rest. And continued on my journey to finish these projects and to start getting back into getting my resume and portfolio together, and trying to get back into the corporate sector of architecture or interior design. But soon, of course, the money runs out. I found myself returning back home to my parents in November, right for Thanksgiving of last year. I had to find out a lot about everything once you move back in with your parents, especially when you left home at 19. was tumultuous, to say the least. But that moment, coexisting with my family, allowed me to find something that was missing. I found peace, like full peace, unbothered in every single way. And I still have it. That's not to say that my current scenario, isn't upsetting, but it's like, I understand, right? I just gotta keep going. You take what you can take. Understand that this game is quite interesting. I managed, through another friend who I've kind of moved in with for a little bit, to start doing Uber, just to have the ability to feed myself and to contribute, right? And I found value in that until later on, that situation didn't pan out. I'm not gonna go into details, but I ended up finding myself back at home with my family, trying to find ways to acquire means to continue working as I search for work. And I did. So got to a point where I was able to acquire enough funds through friends, a little bit from my father, because it was like $25 or something of that nature, to get a car through Hertz to do Uber in. It's quite pricey. I end up having to pay $453 a week just to drive for Uber, who happens, by the way, takes over 50% of the fares. So I'm doing Uber. And it's a pretty rough job because you find yourself working 10, 12 hours plus a day, and you're in the car all day. Now, it does afford you some freedom, right? You can go on and off as you may, but mind you, I had to start off basically negative $453 because I still owe these people money, right? Just so I can try to get back on my own and to be self-sufficient, to be able to take care of my son, right? To be able to go see him. I'm still the most fortunate man. I can't even go into details of how often I was granted the opportunities that I've been granted to share time with the most beautiful people, and most importantly, my son. So I work a lot. And being at odds with your immediate family is another factor, right? So I made it a point to let me see if I can make it up here in the DFW area because that allows me to be close to my son who lives in Tyler, which is 90 minutes away. Um, Plus, he had a lot of going on. You know, he's 15 years old, very involved in the band, loves it. I love it too because he's my twin, my clone. Uh, had the most amazing experiences of being a band dad for a few games and marching contest season. Can't wait for next year, right? And manage to have friends around to say, you know what, you can crash here, right? And I appreciate that. I really do. Even though I wasn't there, it was kind of more of a place just to crash and wash my ass, right? Because I was up working. But, you know, trying to figure out how to maths. Because when it comes down to it, I have to make no less than $1,300 a week just to work the next week. Because every Monday, Hertz takes out $453 of your earnings every Monday. Or whatever, what for me it was every Monday. So, yeah, $1,300 at minimum. I found myself being so caught up and exhausted that I wasn't paying attention to the amount of tolling that happens up here in the DFW. And I didn't think anything about it. I thought that my plate pass would have done what it's supposed to do and take care of it, and I was going to be able to get a bill. But then, you know, unbeknownst, or just, I don't want to say unbeknownst, but found out that plate pass was $10 a day, every day. And you're on the tollway every day here in DFW. So I got surprised with, in total, about $600 worth of tolls and fees in the first 3 weeks I've been up here. It wipes out any type of profit that you have. I knew my time was limited at my friend's house. We had already discussed it. Family was coming in for Thanksgiving. And I was hoping by that time I was able to acquire enough funds to get me a small apartment for me to go and crash and, you know, wash my ass and cook for myself, right? Because when you're out on the road all day, and it's pricey outside. You know, you have to pay for gas. It's $25 at minimum a day. Food, try to spend under $20 a day. Try, you know. You can only eat so much McDonald's and specials at Popeyes and slices of pizza. All right. I've gained weight. I'm sitting on my ass all day. But in the process, I've met over 1,000 people just in these past 4 months. It seems. Okay, I don't even know how long it's been. It's been a while. Yeah. I just had a benchmark. I've just done 1,000 rides. I've been doing Uber since August, with a little bit of hiatus when I was back with my parents. And so, which leads us to where I'm at now. Trying to save as much money as possible. You find yourself trying to, you know, couch surf, you know, wherever you can. So, friend I had to leave my friends that I was staying with because this family was coming into town, and I had to go venture off on my own, try to find a place to sleep. Um, but in the process, I'm still doing work, and I happened to do picked up a rider, and I had to drag him all the way to Fort Worth, and caught a nail in the tire on the ride. It was cool. It was a great rider, by the way. Uh, you know, so I had to get the car maintenance while I was in Fort Worth. Now, mind you, I rented a car down in League City. Um, and called Hertz. I paid for all of this extra, because I had to pay for the extra insurance since I don't have my own, which is part of the price, the $453, plus the roadside maintenance was $20 a week, right? It came in handy because brand new tire, I didn't have to come out of pocket. That's a benefit, right? Supposedly. So reported it to Hertz, reported it to Uber, got a car, received an email from Hertz saying, hey, you need to bring the car back to the original location in League City. And I was like, okay, you got to get there before I think it was the 4th. So I drove 4 hours back to League City to get there for them just to tell me, oh, you didn't need to come back. You could have went to, and I was like, well, I've been attempting to call and contact you guys for several days now, right? Literally sat on hold for over 45 minutes just to get hung up on, right? Multiple times, not just once. So I took initiative and drove 4 hours to League City. Of course, once I got to Huntsville, I started doing some work just to, make use of my time. Get there, was prepared to turn the car in. They say, no, you're good to go. I'm like, okay. Next day, I get another email, say, hey, you need to bring the car in. I called. The representative was like, no, you all good on our end. I'm like, okay, are you sure? Because it's telling me that if I don't turn it in by the 5th, that Hertz will do a repossession with a $500+ fee. Then I get kicked off the platform from Uber. She's like, no, everything's good on our end. I'm like, all right. I continue to work. And on top of that, I'm like, so yeah, you even mentioned you have a zero balance. Everything's good. Great. And mind you, I'm not really paying attention too much of all the money coming in and out because it's constantly moving, right? I'm constantly making money every day. I try to make at least $250 a day. I try, right? It doesn't happen all the time, but that's the goal. So money coming in, going out, because I'm constantly out. And which leads to last night. I had a friend like, yeah, you can come and crash. I'm like, great. Went over and parked in the garage overnight. And, I had to go use the restroom, so I needed to run upstairs. And as I was running upstairs, I was trying to register the car, right? So it's not towed. As I was, going up, then I was like, okay, I need to go back downstairs to get my things from the car. Get to the car, get to the garage, car's gone. Just like that. And I had my AirPods in there, so I knew where it was and saw it at the impound lot. So here I am calling Hertz. Like, hey, what's going on? I thought at this point, I figured something's up, right? One, they did charge me on Monday. Like, I usually get an email, like, hey, get ready for your extension. That didn't happen. So I thought, well, something's up. Called Hertz. No, it wasn't repossessed. Okay, great. Still had a hold on it for some reason, right? Which was supposed to have been cleared up, but by the branch, but it didn't happen. Come to find out, as I went to go in the morning to go retrieve the vehicle, that my account, since it was on hold, they didn't charge me for 2 weeks. You know, I tried to make sure that I kept at least $453 in my account, which was always there. On top of that, that same week, I ended up finding myself getting hotel rooms, right? The cheapest ones I can find on Priceline, Express Deals, and you know, you end up in some interesting places, which requires like $100 deposit that you don't see for 3 to 5 days. So that played a factor. So getting to the impound lot, they say, well, you need your rental agreement. And I pulled up a rental agreement, so I know you need a current one. And I'm like looking for a current one. I can't find it. Call Hertz. And they were basically saying, oh, no, we haven't. You're not current with your payments. Like, I'm not current with my payments. The representative at the branch said I was good. And I was waiting for you guys to have, you know, pull out the $453 for this week. Which they did all of a sudden, right after I had to Uber to 2 different Hertz locations from the impound lot. But I'm still behind. Pretty much wiped out all I've had. So all day trying to figure this out. How can because I have to get this car out, right? It's my responsibility, and it's every day it's theirs. It's just getting more expensive. So here I am, 45, unhoused, no means to make a living, right? Luckily, I have phenomenal people who's got me this room or tonight, are willing that, you know, someone send me some cash, and I appreciate it, and they know who they are. And, but yeah, playing this game is something else. There's no living in this game. None. We become robots just to afford the basic necessities, just to keep a roof and to feed ourselves. Anything excess of that is excess. I mean, to the point where like it's like we're literally killing ourselves to work. I'm working to work. I'm exhausted. But yeah, that's my story. Uh, I'm still blessed. The vision is still there, and can't wait to see everyone on the other side. Yeah, have a good night and take care. Love you all.